Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Mordechai. Hi, Reb Eli. I'm so happy to return to this shir after a few months out of it. Your motto is not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. It's such a chizuk. I see that every time I take a break and come back to the shir, it only improves and gets better. Yoshi is one of a kind and he doesn't get enough credit for all that he does. It makes it so relatable to understand some of the cases. Kudos to the Gwertzman brothers who reached out to me and reeled me back into the shir with the incentive of free Gemara. I consider it a valuable memorabilia to have them do a swag in the Gemara. My only issue is that now I'm not only committed to the shir, but I'm also committed to dropping out of the shir towards the end of every Masechta in order to return the shir at the start of the next Masechta. Hashem should give you the koyach to be mamshir yavez hakoyach until 120. Avi Richt. Eli Garfinkel. That young boy who you tested on the spot, he's talking about Akiva Solway. When you asked that young boy those questions on the spot, he was able to answer them just like that. It brought real tears to my eyes to think such a young boy was able to gain such knowledge at such a young age. Because of the Geshmag Yeshir and the way you give it over, unbelievable, your mamish have caused me to cry with joy and emotion. Also, your interview with those Yiddish speakers was incredible. I can't believe that you replaced those. I'm on this podcast in Yiddish, the number one podcast. It's called Latest Talk. They talked to me in Yiddish and I answered them in English. And believe it or not, they said it was had the most views so far of in the first few days. Because I guess most people speak English, not Yiddish. I can't believe they replaced those 12,000 feet with over 20,000 people listening to you. Wow. He actually really wrote to me yesterday. It's beautiful. About those guys. Hi, Reb Eli Shlita. I would bet that you won't read this email aloud because it may embarrass you and other Litvish people. Didn't look like you were having any trouble making fun of Hasidim either. LOL. Anyway, the cousin Rebbe is once on Purim in a modern Orthodox shul. By the way, some Hasidim consider all of us modern Orthodox. I'm just telling you. I heard from Yossi Klein. He's like, the guys with the black hat, those are modern Orthodox. Okay, fine. Yeah, we're going to get them out there. And he didn't say who by the mail. He said he, like Chassid Shavuda. Afterwards, some guy came over and tried teasing him. We're all confused about what Achashverosh Haman and Vashti were. His answer was, you're right. You guys, the women have long hair, and so do the men in the front. Neither of them have beard and pious. That's why you need a different pronunciation to help understand who that is. The Hasidim, the difference is very obvious. You don't really know. I heard that joke 1,000 times. Anyway, Really, I love you and all your teasers. You're a good person. Aaron Shulam Felberbaum, Monsey, New York. Aaron Katz, dear Reb Eli, thank you very much for your daily shir. It's inspiring, gives a boost for the day. Keep up the amazing work. Aaron Katz, the reason why I'm reading it is because he's from Amsterdam. You got an answer and learning Torah. And here we got a good morning. Good morning, Rabbi Isa. Okay. The Koil sponsor may be remembered to Kran Hashem. Mishpachas Rubenstein, Lezeiche, Nishmat Savi Mori, Baruch Ben Leib. The Koil of the day donating 336 Gematria Purim, because we need the miracles of Purim now. Can't wait to Chodesh Adar. Okay, whatever it goes. We're also accepting for Pesach, and anybody wants. The Masechta is sponsored like Leilui families, Lakewood NJ, because torah and the achdus are the best segula. Paras HaChodesh, Bracha B'li Dayan all my endeavors, Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana Leah. Paras HaChodesh, Dr. Avrum Epstein, in memory of the third Yosef, his beloved Raiza Gitl bas Zeav. Where is he? Oh. Paras HaChodesh, Mordechai ben Esther for complete Refuah Shalema B'Korev, Amen. Paras HaChodesh, Li Nishmat Chaya bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh, Li Nishmat Avrum Epstein, Levi ben Esther, Gabriel ben Yaminov. Paras HaChodesh, in honor of Reb Eli Sima Shas, and all them wires besides Dr. or whatever. Paras HaChodesh, Li Nishmat Zachariah ben Moshe. Paras HaYoim, Arye Checkanow, in honor of Reb Eli and the wedding of my daughter last night. I saw some Gevaldic pictures. Maybe tomorrow we'll show them. Dart of the month. Eli Tropper is in there. What a surprise. Get over here. Rabbi Isai, do you know when Eli Tropper was here last? I know. Megillah Daf Chof. Get over here. We'll do it all over again. Since Megillah. Look at the camera. Smile. This guy is a big time chacham. He knows his stuff. Do you know what Breira means? Got you. Hold on. Chazako. Got it?
Got it.
Yeah? Good. Gevaldik. He's also a karate expert. He showed me his moves. Big time. What was your favorite part when you were in Eretz Yisrael last time?
That was coming here.
Ooh! How about me coming?
Right.
What?
Coming to you.
No, when I came to visit.
Visit the Har Zion.
Yeah? No? Was that good?
2 years ago, yeah.
It was good.
That was
okay.
great.
Yishkoyach for being on Zoom every day. Yishkoyach for reminding me to go to Daven every day. Huh? That's your
Yeah.
official job. Yishkoyach. All right, Eli, what? Okay, we're restarting. Yosef ben Chai. Sorry. No, it's okay. Take your face out of the Gemara. For all the schusim that come from supporting Limud Torah. I always say I want to give you a teaser of what's going to be at the end of this year if we ever get there, because it's kind of late. So you stick around. What's his name here? Let me show you real quickly. You guys watching? Check this out. It's an 8-hour animation. I'm not kidding you. But I'm not going to show you what happened. Okay, fine. You guys sticking around. It literally, it took him 8 hours to do. We're holding 8 lines from the bottom. Ahu gavra d'achdus b'shiroi, Zayin Amud Beis. Ahu gavra d'achdus b'shiroi, Yochasan, he's mekadesh, his wife, his kala, with silk. Now, some silk is worth more, some is worth less. So we have machlokes here. Rabbi Omar leitzricha shuma, you don't need to appraise it. Rav Yosef Omar tzricha shuma. In order for the Kiddushin to be chal, you have to have an appraisal. The Gemara says like this. So, just as a review, we have 2 lashonos actually here. The first lashon and the bottom lashon, it's the top and the bottom. So, first we have one lashon that says, if he tells her, kol dehu, this I'm giving you, it's worth something. I'm not saying how much, it's worth something. Obviously, it's worth more than something. So, according to everybody, it's no good. Now, if he says, he lied, he says, it's worth 50, but it's only worth 10. So there's no question, that's out of the question. We're not even going to talk about that. Or it says it's nothing. He lied. If it's really worth 50, now you have a machlokes between Rabbi and Rav Yosef. And the second lashon tells us also that there's machlokes in the kol dehu case. So let's see inside. Says Gemara, Ida Omar Lahu, Rabbi Omar le tzricha shuma, Rav Yosef Omar tzricha shuma, you need a professional appraiser. Ida Omar Lahu b'kol dehu. If you just said b'kol dehu, you should be miskadesh the way it is right now, as is. Kule amalei pligi the le tzricha shuma. Everybody agrees. You don't need shuma. Did I say before it's no good? You don't need a shuma. No, it's just you don't need. It means you don't need. It's confusing. It confused me. You don't need a shuma. Rav Yosef Amar tzricha shuma. No, sorry. Let's go again. If he said as is, he never said a price, how much it's worth, not worth. You don't need to appraise it. But if he lied to her, so that's thumbs down. It's not even a shayla. We're not even discussing it. When he told her an amount, before the first case, he didn't say an amount. He said, as is. As is. It's a piece of silk. It's worth a lot of money in those days. But if he tells her an amount, he says it's worth 50. And it's actually worth 50. Do we go based on what he says? Is she soymach on him or not? At the end of the day, that's what it's worth. He didn't lie. He told her exactly what it is. You need a professional appraisal. Why? Since she doesn't know. So Memela, she's not soymach das. She's not soymach das. Even if it's worth the exact amount that he said, it's not a Kiddushin according to this machlokes. At Chuppah, we ask Eidim, you notice, is this ring a shava pruta? Everybody hears it, it's nice and loud. I believe the reason is to make sure that she knows it's shava pruta, and she's going based on the shava pruta of it, not based on a chamishim and 100 of it. Because if you say, hey, there's a piece of gold, it's worth a lot, then you might get into a problem that you need an appraisal or not. I'm giving this to you as the kol dehu, as the pruta. You ask him, yes, great. I was a caterer, you know what? Soymach das on the pruta. As a caterer, I got to see a lot of geshmaka things. And I realized, somebody came over to me and said, I got married in your place and my kids just got married. So I realized it was a long time ago. But at one of the chasanas, the guy he asked the Eidim, "Is this Shavah Pruta?" So the Chacham under the chuppah says, "No, it's not." Then I had to stop the chasana. He said it's not. Did he mean it? It was a joke. The whole zach. Okay, fine. Don't make any. It's like at security when you say you have a bomb in your bag. It's not kedai. And the second lashon is b'chol nami pligi. We also have machlokes when he says as is. Rav Yosef kesef Arye Checkanow ma kesef the kayit. So Rav Yosef's reason why you need a shuma is because yes, you could be mekadosh with the shava kesef, something that's equal to has monetary value, but it has to be similar to money. Yes, we learn from a pasuk, as we're going to see later, but it has to be like kesef. Shava kesef now the kayit, just like money. It says an amount on it. It says it's $1, whatever it is. So shava kesef also, you need to know the amount. Amar Rav Yosef, how do you know that you need to have a professional appraisal? The Sanya. Mikesef miknasoy. Let's see if I have it here over here. Oh, here. Imoy rabbis b'shanim lefiyim yoshev gulasoy. Mikesef miknasoy. It's referring to an Eved Ivri, a Jewish slave, and somebody wants to redeem him earlier. He still has 3 years left on his contract, and he's bought for $1,000 a year. So the guy gives mikesef miknasei, whatever it was. Let's say for 6 years is $6,000. He has 3 years left. So whatever the mikesef miknasei was, whatever the money that he was bought with was, that's how much he gives him back. He takes off. What is it? What's the word called? And you go back. No, not retro. Prorated. Right. Okay. Shkai for helping. I should know what I'm thinking, no?
I know.
Prorated. You prorate how many years are left, and that's how much you give back. It says in the pasuk, mikesef. It doesn't say from the value. It says from the money. It seems like, and this, by the way, is talking about an Eved Ivri that you're redeeming from a non-Jewish owner. Is that Rabbi Klein hiding over there? Is that you? Yeah, he's pretending. What's your name? Huh? That's what he said. I asked you. Imamish Arangiton, Tower 41. All right. Once I'm here, what's your name? What are you guys? Your brothers from Brooklyn, right? Not brothers. Brothers from. And you didn't sleep together? Is it Emes? You didn't sleep? Come on. Wow. Okay. Most people come here first and then go, but okay, we'll be Mordechai. All right. Rabbi Shaveh Kesef Kekesef. Sorry, not there. So it says, Mefurish in the pasuk Kesef. He bought the slave. He's redeeming him from a guy with the money. Doesn't say anything about Tvu and Kalim. Movable objects don't work. You can't repurchase. Since you can't repurchase him with movable objects, that means he wasn't purchased with movable objects. Let's look into it. Wait a minute. How can you say that you can't purchase Eved Ivri with Kalim? Yoshev gulasai Amar Achmana l'Rabbi Shaveh Kesef Kekesef. So you look at this pasuk over here. Lefiem, it should say. What should it say? If you wrote the pasuk, you'd say Lefiem gulasai. Prorated Lefiem gulasai. What's Yoshev? To return. Extra word, the rabbis, we take that extra word to teach us that Shaveh Kesef Kekesef, you could also use Kalim. So you could use Kalim. So what's the pshat? So you tell me, you're talking about a kli, let's say a needle, doesn't have the value of a pruta. So it's nothing to do with a needle. Even if you give less than a pruta in money, which is better than a kli, also doesn't work. Elalav, so the Gemara says, I have a right from here, this is a pruta, this is a right to Reb Yosef, that we're talking about a kli that has a pruta. It's actually worth $100. But since they didn't have a professional appraisal, you can't use it. And what's Rabbi going to say? No, it's a very good raya. Not that you cannot use kalim. You can't use the torah of kalim. You can't use a kinyan of kalim. Chalipin. This is called chalipin here, or let me show you this one first. What I just do. This, right? Kin Chalipin, Kin Sudar. This doesn't work on an Eved Ivri. Does it work on an Eved Knani? Yes. Does it work? Does Kesef work on an Eved Knani? Yes. Does Kesef work on a cow? No. Chalipin doesn't work on an Eved Ivri. That's what it's saying. Torah's Kesef. What does it mean, Torah's Kesef? Because look at the pasuk. The pasuk of Chalipin, Lefanu Yisrael ala gula atmur lekayim kol davar. You can use anything. Shalaf ishnali. The one way of doing it, you take off your shoe and you do a switcheroo. Chalipin. But you don't have, it doesn't have to be shoe. It could be a shmat, it could be a yarmulke. In weddings they use a pen, whatever it is. Well, we have a big problem here. How is it possible to say, call Chalipin? How are we naming Chalipin? What's the name of Chalipin? Tvuah v'kelim. That's how he calls Chalipin, according to this pshat. Yeah, saying you cannot use Chalipin, but instead of that, he said you can't use ve'enoi nikna b'tvuah v'kelim. He's not nikna. A slave is not nikna b'chalipin. How does he call Chalipin? Saying the word sudar or Chalipin, he used a different word. Tvuah v'kelim. Wait a minute. Rav Nachman says, Peiros li avde Chalipin. You can't even use a pri. You can't use apples to do Chalipin. So how can you even call it with the name pri? It's the exact opposite. You can't use pri for Chalipin. Says the Gemara, no, not a raya. We're talking about kesef over here. There's no pruta. You ask me, so if it's not worth, you're talking about a needle, let's say. Yeah? Talking about a needle. It doesn't have a shavis of a pruta. So say straight out, you have 5 cents. It's not worth a pruta, you can't use that. Why are you talking about a needle? There's a big chiddush here. This bay shava pruta in the E is bay shava pruta in Leilui. If there's a pruta, great, not. Avatua v'kelim ema d'mikarvan yusayu. Give you an example. What's worth more, 4 quarters or tissue? Oh, sometimes when you're in a meeting or you're under your chuppah and your nose is running, that tissue is worth $100. The mikarvan yusayu. If I could use it right now, this second, it's worth more than what I'm going to do with 4 quarters right now under the chuppah. I can't blow my nose with a quarter. It's worth nothing. This is worth much more. So I have a big hana here. You're giving me a needle. I need it right now. I need to sew something right now, this second. What am I going to do with the $100? $100. I have to go to the store, go all the way to Target, the chasen is over. Right now, the needle is worth more. There was a koilel. They couldn't get the guys to come on time. They said, okay, if you come on time, every whole month on time, we'll give you extra. In koil terms, it's a lot of money. I'll give you an extra 7 shekel a month. Whatever it is, 100 shekel, 1,000 shekel. Fine. Nobody showed up. Then they brought in a Slurpee machine. They said, whoever comes on time for the first 10 minutes, you get a Slurpee. After that, we're closing up. Oh, Sheinemo. Everything came. Karvan Isayu. If it's right now, kids also, you tell a kid, if you do this, I'll give you a bike. You have to learn 3 mesechtas, then I'll give you a bike. It has to be today, right now. Okay, so, maybe that's a big chiddush. You have a pre. Right now, I want to take a bite out of an apple. It's worth less than a pruta, but it's geschmack. Right now, I want it. No, it doesn't work for Kiddushin. Kamash Malon, I'll think that should be miskadish with it. Kamash Malon, not. Oh, Rabbi Yosef. So, at the end of the day, we don't have a raya here. Yeah, Peiros. What? Oh, Eved, fine. Yeah. Eved. Again, so this is back to the question: how do I know that you need to praise it? This calf is going to be for my pinyan ben. Tal is the pinyan bni, or this coat. Lo omar klum, nothing. If he says egel zeh b'chomesh slayim lepinyan bni, this egel which is worth, he puts an amount on it. Tal zu b'chomesh slayim lepinyan bni, benoi padoi. Then it works. If he says that this talus is worth 5, this 5 sellers, the Torah says you have to give a coin, it works. What's the case? If it's not worth 5, he looks at this shmata jacket and he says, it's worth 5, but it's only worth 2. Of course it's nothing. Elulav, the shavi, even though it's worth 10. But he said, listen, it's worth at least 5. V'kivin the leikaitzi loy. You have to praise it first. Professional praise. Loy. Right? Some say that even when he says this is worth, he means I brought in a professional. He said it's worth 5. So you see, like Rav Yosef, that you need a professional appraisal. Loy lam delay shavi. It's not. It's talking about. It's not worth anything. It's worth 2, not 5. Let's say the kohen needs this garment right now, like a yarmulke. Like the first day of my son's school when I first knew into Yisrael, I walked into school, came back, not like from the video, it was 2 years later, came back home, and my neighbor was looking at me funny, and everybody's looking funny. He tells me later, he says, I thought you're some modernish guy that came from America. You walk around without a yarmulke. Went all the way to school, dropped him off, came back without a yarmulke. Fine. Sometimes the yarmulke is very important. It smells, it's a sweaty yarmulke, this, that, it's not worth more than 2 selah. But for me, it is. He said, listen, I need it right now. Rav Kahana, he was the kohen. He took a sudar, some sort of kerchief, from the Pinyan Ben. And he said, for me, it's worth it. I need this kerchief right now. And I'm using it as a Pinyan Ben, the 5 selah. Tais is a very interesting thing. Some people really enjoy this, I think. Tais has a kasha. We see somewhere else, Rav Kahana wasn't a kohen. So why does it say over here that Rav Kahana is a kohen? If he accepted the Pinyan Ben, that means he's a kohen. Other places says he's not a kohen. Says Taisvis, there are 2 kohanim. Fine. The 2 Rav Kahanas. Sorry, 2 Rav Kahanas. So beautiful pshat that in Baba Kama Daf Kuf Yud Zayin, it says that Reb Elchanan was very upset at Rav Kahana, and Rav Kahana was nifter. And then it says that he had like it seemed like he was laughing at him. So it says that he had Tchias HaMesim. So there's a shita that says that a kohen that dies and has Tchias HaMesim is not a kohen anymore. So Mela,
It's the same of Ghana.
same Rav Kahana. I thought you were gonna like it, and turns out you didn't like it. The other Rav Kahana, I said some people like it. So, huh?
The Raiza is that by Pinchas, that's why he needed
Yeah.
to solo. Because when Shevet Shimon tried to attack him after he killed Zimri, so Bracha Nishmasa, he needed the Briskin solo to become a coin again.
They made Pinchas a kohen again. Very nice. The result. This is not everybody holds like that, but this is a shita. Says Gemara, Omar Lei, Omar Ravashi, Rav Kahana. That only applies to Rav Kahana. The Gavar Rabbahu, Maboyle Sudra Reishe. It's interesting. I don't know exactly. You'll tell me different shot. Maybe in those days they didn't wear a yarmulke. Not everybody wore a yarmulke. He was a Gavar Rabba. He needs a yarmulke on his head. Yeah, that reminds me of the Smais. I said it about the new guys in Kiddushin. I learned in the mir with one of the Zach's boys. I'm not going to say what his first name is because it's Lashon Hara, but Yaakov Mordechai knows exactly what I'm talking about. And we were learning Chavrusa, and he got upset at me because I lied to him. I told him that the kasha from Achroinim, and then I told him the teres from Achroinim, and the kids at the end I told him, all these kashas that you like, they were my kashas. Because the day before he hated all my kashas. So he took my yarmulke and threw it out the window because we were sitting back, we were facing the whole base measure. He threw it out the window. So I said, go get it. He said, no, you get it. So I had to walk from the front of the base measure to the downstairs in the mirror with hundreds of people staring at me without a yarmulke. I was like, this, fine. But at that point, the yarmulke would be worth, $100, whatever it's worth. Not that I'm a Gavar Rabba. That's not the point I was trying to say. But there's the very simple question over here.
That's what you understand.
Yeah, that's at the age of 18 in the mirror. Yeah.
If you draw that conclusion.
Yeah, you draw there's a very simple question here. Oh, hold on a second. We'll get there in a second. That the guy points out the Gavar Rabba means a little bit different, but Kihoda, the Mar Baravashi, Zov and Sudri Me'ime the Rabba. Mar Baravashi bought a kerchief from the mother of Rabba Mekuveh, the Rabba from Kuveh. Shave Asar Bit Leisar. It was worth only 10, but he purchased it for 13. Now, what is that called? It's called Oina. Here, it's a concept in Shas. You cannot sell something for a sixth more than its value. So over here, 6 would be 12, l'chayra. and I don't know, Panovich Math, he did charge 13, so it's more than enough. It's asr. So how did he do it? So over here, the Vilna Gaon says on the side, he just sticks in one word, and that kind of answers the question. He says that Kagoin Rav Kahana, the Gaver Rabba, the Yodalim Chule, he knows how to be Moichel Oina. Because the pshat is that if you know, if the guy is open with you, he says, listen, it happens a lot of times, in real estate especially. I have a house, I don't want to sell it, no matter what. The guy pesters you, I need to buy the house. So you tell him, listen, the house, what? And in Novikar, right. But it's in terms of, in general, you take that and correct. And in Novikar. Shkoyach. Welcome back. Benes, no, it's good. So you tell a guy, listen, it's only worth $100,000, but I want $1 million for it. Then it's not enough. He agreed to pay if he knows up front. So here also, he knew that it's worth 10. It was very much worth it for him to play 13. He's Michael, he knows how to do it, and therefore it works. Omer Reb Elazar is actually been mana. Classic. I'm going to give you 100. You know what? Let me give you a down payment today. V'nasan dinner, he gives her 1. 1% he gives her. Shkoyach. Harezim kudeshes v'yashlim. It's a good kiddushin right now, and he just has to pay the rest. In other words, my taima. So you could think, when you're reading this, you think, listen, how's the kiddushin done? With what? How much money does it take to be mekadosh this woman? 100 or 1? Which one is it? If it's 100, because he told her 100, so she only becomes mekudeshes when she got to 100. So then, how is she mekudesh right now? My taima. Kivin amar lo mana v'yav lo dinar. Kimando amar lo al menazdami. And that I left in the where we saw this. I think it's a better idea like this. In Gittin Daf Daled we had this yesod. Hoimer al menas, koimer machsham. So if he says hiskacheli, which he means, and he starts giving her 1, so we assume he meant it's a t'nai. And when he says al menas, he means I want it to be chal right the second with 1 dinar. And the t'nai is going to be on the 99. I have to fulfill my t'nai and give you 99. But the kiddushin is chal right now. That's the pshat in Hoimer al Menas. When a person says on condition, he means it should take place right now. I'll just fulfill the condition. Then it's no good. Yeah, but no. It's like anything else. They could retroactively be broken. Yeah, then it won't be chal. The kids will be mamzer. We had all sugya. Married, what happens during that period in between something like that? But yeah, we find things like that. So says the Gemara, if a person says to the woman, I want to give you 100, and he starts counting, and one of the two, the chas and the kala, sees he doesn't even know how to count, she doesn't want to be married to him. When he gets to 99, he can say, listen, I'm out of here. She could say, I'm out of here. I thought that the Kiddushin is chal with dinner number 1. Once there's 1 dinner, she's mekudeshes, you can't take it back. Now you need a get. You can't just say, I want out. He says specifically, with this, you see that I'm counting all this money? This money. With this that's in my hand. Ask the Gemara, I'm the Sefer b'mana. Reisha b'mana stam. So check this out. What did I say? Oh. Yeah. So if you look over there, I took my head out. You look over there, Reisha, it says Iskachili b'mana. That's what we just learned. It doesn't say the word zu. In the Seifa, it says Iskachili b'mana zu. I underlined it. It says before zu. So if in the blue it says zu, obviously the red is not zu. It can't be that he said this mana. Now he's sticking in a word. If there was no Seifa, so I could say, okay, it's talking about a case that he said zu. But if you're telling me specifically another case that says the word zu, that means the case that doesn't say zu is not about a zu. Fine. Dikatani Seifa, because this is before Seifa. If he said this mana and then he counts it up and it's only 99, or he finds, Canadian coin, something's open the pushka, some guy threw in 25 cents Canadian, it's worth garnished. Enu kudeshes. Dinara. And if it's a bad dinner, harizim kudeshes v'yachlif. Fine. Says the Gemara, loy. Reish v'seif dama b'manazu. They're both manazu. The seif is only coming to explain the reisha. Ketzad, what's the case? The reason why the Sefer says Manazu is to explain the ratio. And it makes a lot of sense. We're not doing a dchak here. This declaration because if it's talking about that he didn't say zu, this one, Hashem Monastam will have a Kiddushin. If it's talking about a case, let's go back. It's talking about a case, we didn't say zu. He just said it's Kashli B'mana, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work, even though he didn't say zu. Zu is more of a reason to say it doesn't work. Because he said here, but it's zu. Hashem Monastam, lo have a Kiddushin, Monazu Mibayah, so what do I need the Sefer for? Says Gemara, it's not a raya. Very good. It's not a raya. It's not a sefer like a ratio. The sefer is only to explain what we're talking about in the ratio. Like talking about ratio, that you shouldn't say that the ratio is talking about the case of monazu. So therefore, I put the case of monazu at the end to tell me that the ratio is not a case of monazu. Anyways, you don't have a raya both ways. Ravashi Omar, another pshat. When a person is counting, so then the person that's being counted for is soymech das, wants everything. It's the middle of action. It's like she's going to get more. She's waiting for the more to happen. Because her das is on the whole pile of cash. Says the Gemara, just let's go into the side thing here. She finds in the pile of 100 a copper dinner. If she knew about it, when she saw him counting the money and she sees a piece of copper going through, so she's makabel. Okay, you're right. He said 100, and now she's in middle. She's makabel 99. What's the problem? She didn't see it. Yeah, mamish happens in the pushka all the time. You take out the coin, all of a sudden you find something that's worthless over there. We said you could just replace it. If you can't use it, it's like copper. Or a popik, you can dinofik. Here in Eretz we know that it is. You ever go to the change? And first of all, you give him an old $100 bill. He'll give you a hard time. I don't want it. I only want the new one with the strips. So sometimes dollar bills, singles in Israel, you can't do anything with it. You know, you put in the people come here to Eretz the Ramat Shemesh. Please don't put anything less than 100 in the pushka. Those dollar bills are garnished. Nothing. What are we going to do with it? Nothing. You go to the change. It's where he looks at it. Take it. They send suitcases, like giant suitcases of dollar bills back to America. But if you give the guy a hard time, listen, I'm a good client. No, he'll take care of it for you. It'll come. Mamish b'shas atchak. That's what we're talking about over here. Okay. I just saw the side here. Since I saw it here, I'll ask you the question. The Tzvi Zaken brings here Tosefta. A very interesting question. A man tells a woman, I want to get married to you. Here's $100. She says, absolutely not. What do you think? I'm chopped liver? I want 200. Okay. They walk away. I don't think you're worth more than 100. Adios. I don't have more than 100. What should I do? They come back, they meet again, and he offers her 100, and she takes it. Kiddushin or not Kiddushin? So, very interesting. He says it depends. It depends. If she came to him, then it's Kiddushin. If he came to her, then it's not. That's what he says. Because, what?
She can't change her mind?
She says I don't want it. She took it. Okay. I don't know. Okay, good. So think about it. Look inside. Maybe I learned it wrong. Omer Rav Nachman. Omer is actually been money. No. Omer is actually been money. No, because we go back on what she said before. And we're going to see a whole sugya now. She took it. She threw it back to him. She took it and she made fun of it. You know. There's different ways to look at it. Another big winner, this guy. He says, listen, I want to give you $100, but I don't have $100. Like the guy with my RV. I want to pay you $8,000 for the RV, and he didn't have the money. Like, after I negotiated, finally I said, fine, I'll sell it to you. He said, yeah, but I don't have the money. So what were you thinking? I'll just work it off. Okay, fine. So, let me give you a security. Eino mekudeshes. I actually heard that it's a mitzvah in the Torah to do a mashkin. So some people are makbid to loan money with a mashkin. Yeah. Don't come to me because I have a whole drawer full of watches and stuff like that. I was here to the mitzvah many times. Mona einkan, mashkin einkan. Says Gemara, listen, you promised 100, you didn't give her 100. So you for sure didn't give the money. What about the mashkin? The mashkin is security. The mashkin is not anything. It doesn't have any value. Security. So you don't get it. It's not a Kiddushin. Sponsored on my uncle, his uncle, Reb Elchanan Pressman, as a schus for a year filled with Maz Bracha and Parnas and Brevach by Greg Haber, Bracha, Parnas, Atzlacha, Brios, his family, Reb Eli, and all them, they want everyone doing the daf. Eisi Reb Nachman, Kitcha, B'mashkoin, it says before it's the opposite. If a man is Mekadosh a woman with the security, with the mashkoin, Mukudash, it works. Says the Gemara, Awesome, B'mashkin da'chirim. What's going on? It goes like this. Somebody owes the husband $20,000. So he gave the husband a Rolex watch. Now, the husband, the chassan, takes the Rolex watch, which he owns, as we're going to see in a second, it's his, and he gives it to her, and he's mekasher with the mashkin. Okay, that has value. Now he gave her something. In our case, he wanted to be mekasher with what? Not with the mashkin. He wanted to be mekasher with 100. He just didn't have the 100. He gave her security. Don't worry about it. I'm going to give you 100 later on. But he wasn't mekasher with the mashkin. Over here, the Rolex is instead of the $20,000. It has value. It's his. It's considered his la'halach, as we're going to see in a second. And Mamela, that's what he gave her. It says in the pasuk. Where is this pasuk, Rabbi Isai? This week's parasha. It says before in the Torah, you should give back the mashkin. You have security, give it back to the person. He'll use the pajamas, he'll have what to use at night. And I'll consider it a tzedakah. Now, if it's not his, tzedakah minayin. What do you mean it's going to be a tzedakah? You can't do tzedakah with something that's not yours. Obviously, halachically it's yours. Shekoina, mashkin. Okay, it goes in. When did he give the mashkin? At the time of the avah, later on. Fine. Bnei Ravuno, huh?
That you're owed.
No.
The person's
No.
in a week.
Milv is not.
The Rolex back.
Okay,
Right?
then he'll give money back.
Right.
No, but right now it's the Rolex. No, right now the Rolex is yours. I'm giving you what I have. Somebody wants to buy it off me and trade it in, fine. But right now I'm giving you a Rolex. Halva is not nothing. The $1 million is nothing. It's not here. Milv lo yitzadnit no. Bnei Ravuna Barovin Zovin Ahi Amsa B'Pritei. Says the Gemara, they try to buy a slave, shifcha, knanis, with a few nothings, a few prutas. Even that they didn't have. I guess she was a winner slave. They say, you know what? We'll come back later. Here's a mashkin, a piece of silver. And then the slave, something happened. She became worth more. Also, you didn't pay for her. It was just a security. The security wasn't worth anything. You didn't want to purchase her with the security. You just had her hold the security. Then you don't get her at all. He says, here's 100. She took it. It was raktu layam. I just wanted to show the island what it looked like before Yoshi came along. This is art I learned in Panovich, and that's why it looks like that. He didn't do this. This is always had tchelis and the tzitzis and a fake yarmulke, the whole thing. Okay. She said, okay, give it to me. In front of his face, she threw it right into the fire. What they called of it? No mikudeshes, it's not nothing. Says the Gemara, wait a minute. If she throws it in the fire, then she's not mekudesh. Hashatinu kamei. If she threw it in his face, have a kiddushin. It is good. She's take it. I don't want it. No, that also is no good. Certainly, if she threw it right back at him, we understand what she's talking about. You gave her something, she threw it in his face. What does that mean to anybody? Every kid understands she doesn't want to be mekudesh. I would think if she throws it into the fire, since now she has to pay him back $100. So why did she throw it into the fire? I want to see whether he has an anger problem. It's a shtickle late because she's mekudesh, and now she finds out she has a kaisin on her hands. Now what is she going to do? I don't know. Kamash Malon.
She wants to know what nachas she can have from her husband. She can see the davening of.
Okay. She can see the. Yeah. So, Rabbi said once I was in Switzerland, and they didn't have any, regular car, then manual. Now, Americans, we don't know from manual. Yeah, give me the manual. Okay, fine, I'll take care of it. Everything was going great until I was on this very, very steep hill, and there's a car behind me. And it went off, and I couldn't start it, and I started rolling to the guy behind me. The pachad, the anxiety, you know what I'm saying? And these guys are, and I stopped traffic for 10 minutes, and the guy had to get in and get me out of there and go into a straight thing. It was nerve-wracking. Worse than that, when I was younger, on the FDR Drive, I borrowed my uncle's car, and he's a coil guy, and it was slow, and I hear it, and it stopped dead. On the FDR Drive, in the middle of rush hour, in New York, you can't imagine the bizyonis. Every guy, until he got around me, and every guy that got around me cursed me, and the Jew, and the this, and that. It's nerve-wracking. The anxiety. So the Meiser Shekamat Hoya, there's a guy on a date. Now that you understand this, a guy on a date, and he's at the light, and he had something in the trunk. So he goes to the trunk at the red light, and he gets it real quick. He comes back into the car. Where's the keys? He doesn't know where the keys are. So he starts looking here, there. He goes back to the trunk, and meanwhile people are beeping and they're going crazy, and he doesn't. No, he doesn't know. 3 minutes he sits there, and he's finally the girl looks at him. She goes, "Here's the keys. I had it. You win." He looks at her. He says, "And you lose." All right. Took her home and Shalom Yisrael. I want to see if you're a Kaisen or not. All that for that. Torah Abana. His kachli b'mana. The name Lebovic. His kachli b'mana. The name Lebovic. Listen to this. Is this a bazayan? Here's the ring. She tells him, you know what? It's beautiful. Mom is beautiful. Give it to your father. What does she mean? She doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to get married. Give it to my father. Give it to your father. What is she doing here? What? Oh, ask Shamshi, check this out. Look at this. And he gives the money to the father. He gives it to some random guy. It says Mekudesh. Oh. So, Ayin Rashi, it's different. Over here, in your case, she asked for it. She said, do this. Over here, he gave it to her, and then she told him, it was just a reply. She made fun of him. Over here, it's obvious that she's making fun over there. That's what she wanted. But if she says Mefurish on condition that they accept it for me, and this is the Seifa, Mikudeshes. Tell you that even in the case, the first part of this bride, this one line, that even though it's her father, take the ring, give it to my father, even though they're related and it's a good gift to the father. No, it doesn't work. And the second part, that they should accept it for me, the seifa, that even though it's her, it's his father, it still works. His kachli b'mana, it's the name Leploini, but the same exact thing. Instead of a father, we're talking about a random person. Same halacha. Here's money for Kiddushin. I don't want it, sir. Give it to so and so, a random guy, not mekudesh. Amanashi kabbalah, but the random guy should accept it for me. Mekudeshes. Utzricha. I need both cases, a father and a random person. She knows them well. She's das. So rather than they're going to do what I tell them to do. They're going to give it back to me one day. I'll play Eli, but a random person not. The case of that it's not Kiddushin because he's random. She doesn't know him. She wants to gift them something. Maybe she gave it to them as a gift. Do a little bit more. Let's do a little bit more. Why not? We didn't get to the beautiful the dog. Here's 100, and he puts it on a rock. Nothing. You could acquire money with your chatzar. So chatzar is kind of. What about if the rock is owned by both? Now Taisus points out that we learned that a chatzar of two people, one of them can never acquire anything in there unless you put it in their box. They have a special box. Okay, so Taisus learns a different shot here than Rashi. Says Shneim, they both own it. Maybe she meant to make fun of him, put it on your part, or maybe she meant, I want to be mekudesh, put it on my part. Take it. This guy's the bekikar. Here's a loaf of bread. She tells him, give it to the dog. Give it to the dog means, I don't want it. I don't need it. But if she just saved the whole meal for the dog, Mukudeshes. Boy, Rav Mori. Now, I have to be magdim to you. There is no nation in the world that is scared of dogs like a frum Jewish woman. Ayin Sham. I don't know if we got it genetically from Yetzias Mitzrayim, if from the Nazis. I don't know, but I've never seen anything like it. The dog is 4 miles away. They run, they jump, they could get run over by a car. Dogs on the side, they run. Ask the Gemara. Kelev ratzach cherei ma'u. The dog is running after her. It says Rashi lenoshcha, to bite her. Then I know that he saved her life. With that I know she's going to be miskadesh. Listen to this. She hates dogs so much, she's willing to marry this guy just to get him away. It's unbelievable. I was with our friend Ehrenfeld. We're in the Alps, we're walking, and a dog came towards us, and his kids literally jumped off the cliff. I'm not joking. They almost died. They went down like a few meters down. Like they were asking him to jump, just not to be next to the dog. So we have to show the clip. Here we go. Rabbi Isai, here it is. This is Stam. Okay. Now everybody clap. Okay. Hold on, are we done? This I know you had to do it anyway, so it's not enough for me. Take Boy, have a wonderful day.